For 13 weeks, I was part of an incredible program called GriefShare. GriefShare is a grief support group. During the meetings, we discussed challenges people were facing. We also watched about a 30-minute video every session and discussed questions which were in the workbook. I thought GriefShare was an incredible opportunity for other people to meet one another. They could share stories, they could help each other through their grief, they could invite one another out to different events and activities and really build strong friendships while at the same time helping each other through their grief journey. People told me that the hardest part about being a facilitator with GriefShare is the emotional aspect. I personally did not feel like the emotional aspect of GriefShare was a lot to bear. There were some hiccups at the beginning. For example, one woman yelled at me because I tried to follow up with her. She was having back pain and she didn't come to the sessions, and I was just concerned about her back pain. And in essence, she yelled at me, and it was just very upsetting for me because I was just trying to be a friendly neighbor. And clearly she was just going through a lot, and she was taking out her anger and her bitterness and all her emotions. She was taking out on me, and I have no animosity towards her. I really hope she does well. Besides that incident, the rest of GriefShare was relatively easy. I'm not going to say there were emotional stories which were shared, which there were, but there were also a lot of funny moments and just different things that we shared that I really looked forward to each and every week, and I looked forward to seeing the people. The biggest obstacle for me was the commitment by the other people who were helping to lead the program. A lot of people have kind of rebuked me a little bit and told me I was doing too much during the GriefShare program because I did become very sick. I had to be hospitalized. I developed a severe infection because I simply became very run down. People have told me, oh, you should not have done this. The other people should have stepped up. Well, there were a lot of issues with this, so please do not think this is me gossiping or anything. I'm just going to share things which happened, and I'll let you kind of understand why I had to take on so much leadership responsibility, why I had to be there almost every single week. I did take 2 weeks off at the end. I was simply too sick. But in essence, I had to pretty much be there because there literally was nobody else to do the program. So let me walk you through this. First of all, we had 3 other people that were going to help me. Shortly before we were going to start the GriefShare, one person told me, oh, I can't do this. No, this is too soon. She dropped out of the program. No worries. There's a total of 3 people. We should be okay. One person, right before GriefShare started, their family member got very sick, was in the hospital. This family member was not close by. The family member was in a distant city. So the GriefShare facilitator went, visited her family member in the hospital, stayed with the family member in the hospital, which was fine. I totally appreciate she did that. And as soon as she was able to come back and rejoin GriefShare, she did. But she also decided, because her family member was very sick and still after getting out of the hospital is not doing very well. The person still has a lot of medical issues. The person that was helping lead the GriefShare programs decided she was going to pack up and put her house on the market as soon as possible so she could move across the country and be with her family. So this person was extremely stressed. She was packing. She was trying to get her house on the market. This caused a lot of stress for her. She ended up getting very sick. She had to take time off because she was just too exhausted, too sick. But she was finally able to get things packed up. Then another family member of hers became very sick, was placed on hospice. That family member ended up passing away. Now, I don't know if there was a funeral or not. I really apologize. I don't know, because the woman was constantly in and out. She would sometimes come to set up the room and then she'd be gone and I would never see her. So I don't know. I didn't have a lot of communication with her during the GriefShare program. Anyways, she was in a tremendous amount of grief after this family member passed away. She was not in any situation to lead GriefShare by any means, so I never put that upon her. I simply just appreciated anything and everything she could do. Once her house was on the market, she had an offer on the house, and she said as soon as she got an offer and it was accepted, she was out of here. The offer, I'm not sure if it ever went through or not, because again, I ended up getting sick. I went in the hospital. This woman also ended up getting sick. She couldn't lead. I really kind of lost touch with her at the end of this GriefShare program. I don't even know if she's in the area anymore. I don't know if that offer was accepted, if she's moved. I really lost track of the person. So again, this person had two people that were very, very sick. One person passed away. She put her house on the market. She was packing. She herself got sick a couple times. So she had a lot going on in her life. So person number two, you might think person number two could have helped you out. Well, person number two did the best she could. Unfortunately, going into this program, I did not know she had a family member she lived with who was on hospice. GriefShare does not promote people to facilitate and to lead the group if you have somebody that is very near death, simply because they're going to die during the GriefShare program, and they do not want somebody that's grieving during the GriefShare program to be part of it. It is simply too hard for the person. But I didn't know this, and I am really, really grateful for this person's help, but it did present some challenges. The person that was living with her that was on hospice needed to have care 24/7. The care was primarily done by this person that was in GriefShare and her family members. Unfortunately, during GriefShare, her family members went on an extended vacation. They were gone for 3 weeks. So during this time, the person with GriefShare could not leave the family member that was on hospice. So for 3 weeks, she could not come to GriefShare. This was a little bit of a stress on me, but it was okay. I powered through it. Then after the 3 weeks, then the family member ended up passing away. So now this person that's in GriefShare is actively mourning the loss of a very, very close loved one. I could not place really any responsibilities on her. There was no way. She was dealing with trying to plan a funeral. The funeral and everything was actually not going to be nearby. Her family, a lot of them are still across the country in another part of the United States. So she was doing everything to get everything shipped over there to have the funeral, to get that set up. And so then she ended up having to also miss because she had to go to the funeral. But again, during this whole process, I could not ask her to do anything. I mean, she was there, she was helping as much as she could, but she was actively grieving and she was not in the right headspace to do any of this. So we basically had a month that, I mean, she was there, she did what she needed to do, but if she could not come or she did not feel like she could participate in anything, she was free not to do that. After a month, her family decided to go on a vacation, and she was invited with, because now the person that was on hospice had passed away. There was nobody that needed to stay with that person that was on hospice. So the person went on a vacation for a couple weeks. So again, there was nobody to lead GriefShare. And then I ended up with just all of this stress of me constantly having to lead GriefShare because there was nobody or very little help. I don't want to say there was no help, because the person that was selling her house, she did try to pop in and out, and this person also did try to pop in and out, but it was just a lot of uncertainty. I had no idea from week to week if anybody would be helping me. Thankfully, people with GriefShare that were going through the program helped me as much as they could. If I needed the room set up or anything like that, they really stepped up because they saw I was just completely overwhelmed. So that is basically how GriefShare happened. We had 4 people, it dropped down to 3, then the one person, 2 family members were sick, one passed away. She put a house up for sale. She was going to move. I don't know, maybe she has moved, she got sick. The other person, family member on hospice, couldn't come for a couple of weeks. That family member passed away, had the funeral, was grieving, and then went on a vacation. And so that is just a brief explanation. I mean, a lot of people have been giving me just a tremendous amount of resistance about, well, you should have taken off. If you weren't feeling well, you shouldn't have done it. Literally, if I would not have shown up, the GriefShare program would not have gone forward. There was nobody to move it forward, to keep it going. I was really the person that, if I didn't show up, GriefShare most likely would not have happened a lot of weeks. So that is kind of the biggest stressor about GriefShare is, we just did not have the people in place. I mean, with these people needing to go, we didn't have replacements to come in. This was our first session, so we don't have a lot of people on our leadership staff. So that was the biggest stumbling block for me, was just the stress of having to do it every single week. And if I was not feeling well, it didn't matter. I had to show up. I had to go, because there was usually nobody else to reliably be there. I could not force people that. I mean, both of them were grieving the loss of close family members. I could not expect them during their intense morning grief time to step up and start leading. No, that was not appropriate. That was something that was beyond what they could do. And then just also illness and moving, and wow, there was just so much that was going on. So that was the biggest thing for me, is just that constant stress. Going forward, the church leadership really wanted me to do this again in the fall. And I just said, I cannot. I mean, we have 3 people. The one person, if she hasn't moved, she's going to be moving. She said she will definitely not be here in the fall. I mean, she's had an offer on her house, whether it was accepted or not, I don't know, but she is not going to be here in the fall. That leaves me with just me and the other person. And you think, well, maybe the other person can help. And she's actually said, oh, I would love to, but her family is actually going on a vacation. And it's shortly after GriefShare would, if it's going to start in the fall, it would shortly after it starts. So again, it would just be me for, they were not really sure if it's going to be 2, 3, 4 weeks. They're not really sure how long it's going to be, but it's going to be for a number of weeks. And I'm going to be there completely by myself. And then she also told me that she has to babysit. She has a babysitting commitment. And if she's needed to be babysitting, she can't come to GriefShare. Also, she doesn't know her family might also go on vacations. Again, we have Thanksgiving in there. We'll have Labor Day in there. We have Halloween. We just have some other holidays and things in there. And her family might be going on vacation during those times. So there's a possibility she might only be there a couple of weeks, and the rest of it would all be on me. And no, I will not do the entire program again by myself. I can't do 13 weeks. It's just way too stressful. So I have been very vocal with this, with the church leadership, saying, I can't do this. I can only do maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks. It's 13 weeks. So maybe I could do almost half of the sessions. But again, I can only do every other week. I can't do every week. And if I'm just too tired, I'm just too tired. I can't have that stress and that responsibility that I have to be there no matter what. I can't do that. My health is just too precious for me. And I can't have that stress and that burden to just completely drain my immune system, drain my body, and then get a horrible infection like what happened this past time. So that is just kind of how things are going forward. It seems like the church leadership has listened and realized we don't have the leadership to do this in the fall. So I'm really hoping and praying they're not going to push this for the fall. I am floating this, kind of saying maybe we should do it next spring. In about a year, we should try to do this again. But I will not do all the sessions. I will only do every other session. And there was even talk by some people that maybe we should shorten the program. If we don't have leadership to do this, maybe we should just shorten the program so it is not 13 weeks. Maybe we could do 10 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. Shorten the program down. Unfortunately, it won't be the full program, but if we can shorten the program, maybe we can get enough people to help out during those weeks, because 13 weeks is a huge commitment for a lot of people. But if you have 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe even 10 weeks, we might be able to get some people to step up, help out with those leadership roles. And even if they only help out 3, 4, 5 times, that would be so much less stress on me, and it would allow me to take time off and to take breaks. So that is how GriefShare happened. I'm very happy. I'm very blessed to be a part of that program. I am so grateful and thankful to have met every single person that came through GriefShare. I learned a lot about the people, about grieving, about how people function, and it has really been instrumental to helping me with my YouTube channels. There are a lot of people that are on my YouTube channels that are either grieving their health or the loss of a loved one. It's given me insight into helping understand other people and what they're going through, and it'll probably definitely change how I interact with people in the future to give them the best amount of support, to encourage them to love upon them and to give them everything they need. And also, now that I know about GriefShare, I will happily promote the program to people and say, hey, this is a nationwide program. Please check this out. If you can find a GriefShare program, please join it, because I am positive they will get something out of it. And I'm positive it will help them and it will give them tools to continue on their grief journey and continue forward and continue to just make the best of everything they have. So thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. Please also remember to comment and share. It really helps my YouTube channel. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye.